You know, 2 months is not that long. Okay, so I had a 3DS as a kid. Obviously, that means I'm going to be a little biased towards this kind of design, you know, like the good kind. Anyways, today I'm going to be talking about... Okay, rude. Today I'm going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch Lite. Okay, so the Nintendo Switch is not the newest Nintendo console. You can still get the same thing, but with a screen made of jellyfish. But if you don't want to spend $5,000 on a screen, then the Nintendo Lite is probably your best bet. And honestly, it's pretty good. If you like bad things, oh! Now, call me crazy for thinking this, but this design is terrible. It looks so bad. Oh my god, Nintendo. Remember when the GameCube literally had ports designed to look like faces? The GameCube's ports are literally designed to look like faces. That's so cute. Remember when Nintendo actually tried to make their consoles look good? Thankfully, Nintendo realized the classic blunder of making the console actually good, because if it was good, then I might not want to buy the new one next year. So what they did instead is that they made the colors awful and disgusting and ugly. The colors are so bad. Okay, look. Bad, bad, bad. Almost okay. And bad with plain white buttons. Nintendo! It looks so bad! Okay. I hear what you're saying, right? I obviously didn't make a video just to insult Nintendo for their looks. But like, imagine if I did. Imagine how like cool that would be. Wouldn't that be like so cool? So obviously Nintendo has gone leaps and bounds in the past few years to improve their catalog. On the DS you kind of like only had major games, and by major games I mean the ones Nintendo specifically touched with their hands. But now, because of the Nintendo Store, it doesn't cost as much for Nintendo to make a game available. Now you can get indie games on the Nintendo Store. In fact, you can get a lot of free games too, like Pokemon Unite and Apex Legends and Rocket League. And that's great, because if I just paid $200 for the Nintendo Switch Lite, at least I should get some games like Car Soccer and Shoot Guy. But I think that, despite the valiant effort, Nintendo can't keep up with people's demands. On my phone, I can get a more billion apps for free, for literally any genre. On a Switch, Uno costs $4. I'm not gonna pay $4 to play Nintendo Switch Uno. Nobody's gonna pay $4 for Uno, okay? Roblox Uno is free, and it does sometimes work. And Nintendo phone games are really something. So with absolutely no inspiration from Pokemon Go to the polls, you have Super Mario Run. It's Mario but worse. Mario Kart Tour. It's Mario Kart but worse. Nintendo, people didn't like Pokemon Go because you leave your house. People liked it because it's Pokemon Go to the poll. And for the most part, I think that anyone who had a 3DS or DS only really maybe had a couple or a few good games. And that one Dinosaur Office thing. But if you have an iPhone with only a couple or a few good games, you're doing it wrong. Get Stumble, guys. When was this script written? Jesus Christ. Okay, so I looked it up. Nintendo does have indie games, okay? They do have the idea of, like, anyone can upload a game. However, I would also just like to note that if you want to make a game for Switch, the programming language you use is Smile Basic 4. That has to be a joke, right? Like, that can't just be me, right? That has to be a joke. Smile Basic 4 is like, it's based off of BASIC, you know, the programming language from 1964? It's based on that for a professional, modern system. Nintendo! Come on! Stop being spheres!
I had like a whole thing here, but I'm tired and I just want to get this done, so I'm just gonna like speed it up. If you have like a palette with 2 colors, that's good. If you have a palette with 1 color, not good.
Okay, so now that I've described all the stuff like what I don't like about the Lite, let's talk about what we need on a new console. So, first, just like the Lite, this console isn't going to be in full HD. You don't need that, okay? We can keep it cheap. It's also going to have the same control scheme as the Lite, so that game developers can just easily like port their games to the new console. They don't have to make everything new. Second, anyone is allowed to try porting a game to the Nintendo eStore. Hell, Nintendo can like try being bold and make like a royalty-free character, giant asterisk, obviously. These games can cost money, but a lot of them won't. we're gonna have to compromise here and let ads be on this thing at some point. Not on like the main screen, but on the games themselves, just like a phone, okay? It's not the 1940s anymore, Nintendo. You can't just like sell games like on the NES, okay? You gotta put some ads in there. Okay, next, this is a big one here. It can connect to your phone or PC with Bluetooth, or your PC with like the device's charging cord or something. So the phone app lets you either access the eStore and messaging on the go, and for the PC app, you can access the eStore through the device itself. The computer lets you access the eStore and put your own games on the device. No, I don't know how this will be like able to avoid pirating or OBS or whatever, but still, it's like nice to have, you know? Finally, it has a touchpad like on a PlayStation or a laptop. That way you can have like mouse compatibility in games that need it, as well as partial 3DS compatibility. Whoopsies, my finger slipped and I accidentally 3D modeled the thing. So here. So I can go over some of this more specific details now. So this is the I/O, and when charging, it detects how much sound is in a room, and as long as the room is quiet enough, it can assume that it's at like home. You don't have a charger at school, so that's why like that won't be detected. So whenever it's in this home mode, you can wake it up by saying I/O. It's called the I/O because it looks like a wink if you like do it right. Okay, so let's go over the details here. 1, there are 2 USB-C ports on the front. These are used for extensions like the Wii's nunchuck. This keyboard here goes in those, and because it takes up 2 of them, one of the ports just directly goes through to the other end, so that like you can plug other stuff in. The keyboard itself has keys 1 to 9 and 0. They wouldn't actually be dice numbers, by the way. I just don't know how to make numbers. So like, work with it, dude. Come on. 2, these are the other buttons. So the X, Y, B, A buttons are colored like in the new 3DS, and the bottom 2 buttons are now a star and a house. And the grayscale buttons are now also tinted blue because it looks better. I'd cry about it. Okay, so 3, just like the Switch, it has USB-C charging on the back. However, there's also a mini HDMI. If Nintendo were to actually release this, the mini HDMI would be like part of a more expensive model. All of these ports are to scale, by the way, so this thing is like really small. I tried like printing it out. It's not that bad, but it is pretty small because I want it to be portable, you know. Anyways, 4, while we're on the back, you might notice that there are no ZR or ZL buttons. That's because I just forgot them. I'm not redoing it, just use your imagination. 5, there's an SD card reader. I just want an SD card reader, dude, just let me have this. Finally, this one has more than enough color to satisfy my needs. When you buy it, you can pick the top part's color and the bottom part's color. There's 8 different options for each, and the bottom colors match like the top colors, but they're slightly different. So you can have the red and blue, white and black, red and white for the Pokemon fans, green and blue for the Animal Crossing fans, etc. And when you buy the keyboard, by the way, it's separate from the actual device, so you can technically have a 3rd color if you want. Sure, this isn't a realistic expectation because of how hard this is to do, but we're talking about ideals, not like actual expectations here. If we're being realistic, we're gonna have the jellyfish screens before we have the new console. Here are just some test renders to just show you what this thing would look like. Okay, so don't read into this with the idea that this is going to become a thing, because it won't. Honestly, this thing is like asking way too much. A Pixel 3 has about the same functionality, and that thing was $800, and this thing won't. The point is to be cheap. Also, this thing is like tiny. So, Nintendo's current standing as a whole isn't too enviable. They want to have a garden full of content and a yard full of users, but at this point they kind of don't even like have a lawn at all anymore. Now, Nintendo obviously isn't dead, and it's not like they're dying. It's not like they're gonna go away anytime soon. They have like millions of dollars or whatever. Honestly, Roblox is probably like better at this point than Nintendo. Anyways, I'm not selling this as what Nintendo needs to do or what will definitely work. I'm just selling this as Nintendo doing what Nintendo does best. Nostalgia. That's what this is. Okay, that's the part where I like fade to the outro. I also got a new room, by the way. Do you like it? I know you can't like see any of it, but do you like it? I like it.